Alright guys, time for quite a large review of the old trench table going on here today. So yeah, what have I been doing? Well, I've been doing quite a lot, as you can see. The second tile now is all the walls are in place, the texturing has been done, and what I've done on the whole table, just to give me a better concept of how it's shaping up, I've used some preliminary sprays with some of the general aerosols I use when creating a table. This is just very early stages, guys, don't judge it by looking at this now, but just so you know, some of the paints I've actually used is it's this brand here. Let me just see. Yeah, this light grey is Superdeck acrylic spray primer, very cheap, $3.69 a can, and that's basically responsible for the lighter greys that you see there. And then the primary grey, which as you can see is all over the fortress and a lot of the actual table here, is Plasticoat. It's matte super. It's a grey sort of like acrylic spray. Not particularly cheap. It's £7.50 a can, but it is a personal favourite of mine for projects such as this. And I've started to put some of the browns in place, such as in the walkways and the walls of the trench, with another Plasticoat brand, but this time it's like a chocolate brown, and it's working out just perfect. I'll use a lot more of it all over the rest of the table. I'll only do that when I've actually finished the core construction. As you can see, I've got a gap this side and I've got a gap over the other side that I've got to fill in because my boards weren't quite big enough, but that's no problem. I'll sort that, and then that's when I'll start applying real colour. But at the moment I'm still doing the detail stage. It's not detailed enough for me at the moment, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you around the table, show you the areas that I've been doing and the sort of details that I've added, and then what I plan to do in the future. So the first tile is pretty much the same as to how you saw it on the last video, I think. Sometimes I lose track of what I've actually done and shown you. One of the things I have added is a wire fence. Now hopefully you'll be able to see that if I keep the camera still long enough. There's a banged up barbed wire sort of fence going along there. As you can see, in certain areas it's broken up, the wires come off, it's been damaged, and it goes round to the front of the first tile along here. As you can see, there's just a stump there. I haven't put some wire on. I've still got more wiring to do, and then I plan to have it going across that section over there sporadically, obviously damaged at that point, but I'll come to that over there in a minute. Very simple method I used. I was talking to Templars Crusade 01 the other day about it, and I noticed he'd got some fences, and I says, oh, I've got a cheap way of doing that, and here it is. And what I plan to do is I'll do a quick tutorial video to show you how I've done that. It's really simple, very cost effective, very cheap. You don't have to be buying coils of GW wire like you see here. You can make it so cheaply and effectively, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in a video which will be appearing soon. So yeah, tile 1, as you can see, lots of detail going on. I find it easier when I'm building a table to give it some preliminary colour, because I can see the way that it's shaping up better and how it's going to look in the future, and I can see areas that are going to pop out more to me, and I think, do you know what, that needs a bit more detail there, or it needs this over there, or something over the other. So I find colour helps that process for me. The command bunker here, as you can see, that's still pretty much the same. What I shall be doing with this, I'll be adding some wires, I'll be adding some camo netting and so forth around that area. Apart from the actual painting, the trenches themselves along here are pretty much done. Let's just move on that corridor there. That's all pretty much okay. Bit of a damaged area there. The crash speeder, as you're all aware of. Moving along, that's all pretty much the same. This area here, now what I've done, and what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to move around the other side of the table, if you excuse me. It's a 9x4 table, so it's quite extensive. Okay, so the second tile, all the corridors have been done. I've done this section here now, which gives us a nice bit of narrative up to the bunker. Moving along here. Now this section, if you remember in the last video, I've done some green stuff tracks. Well, that's worked out really well. So if I just move the camera over, you should be able to see them. And then there's some here and there throughout the table and here. And it just works really well. Once you put that texture in over the top of the green stuff and in certain places, you can actually see it. And I think it's, yeah, job's good. And what I've done here, I've sort of like made it look like if tanks are rumbling from the fortress, they'll be breaking through this part here. Obviously they've gone straight through that and over the top of the trenches, which has actually caused a collapse there, and shifted the sandbags around on that side, because they're like, that was one of the fire points, you know, a bit like the others that I've been doing here and there further up the table. A little bit of narrative once again, because it just makes it look more interesting. If a table makes you look and think, well, what's happened there, and you can see by the damage and the details that are around it, you can actually see what's happened. So a narrative table is definitely the way to go. Over this side here, I've started putting some more details in, such as barrels and crates and so forth, and then we got like wire coils and jerry cans, more barrels. It's just the beginning. There's lots more planned, hell of a lot more planned. I'm having to buy some parts in, get some inspiration from various sites, talking to a few friends to see what ideas they have. But right at the moment, it's still actually in the construction stage. Because yeah, I know I've added a bit of colour, and I will use that colour when I actually come to the painting stage, but I need that colour to give me the inspiration, if that makes any sense to you guys. So like I say, lots more detail to be added yet, but once all the detail is actually added, what I shall do then is I shall start thinking of the painting stage. I shall paint it to a certain level of detail. Once that painting has been done, I will start adding other details, such as dead grass, water pools that have formed in craters that have been there for a while, and so forth. So the level of detail is going to be far higher than what you're actually looking at the moment. This is of course just a work in progress update. So yeah, moving on to this tile here. As you can see, I've still got a bit of filling in to do, as I've said, but this is the site of the crashed Titan. Now, just so everybody knows, because a few have actually commented, this is not actually a Forge World Titan, guys. It is a card construct of a Titan, a well done one nonetheless, and once it's in rubble and so forth, it's actually going to look pretty authentic. Quite a few of you actually thought it was a Forge World Titan. No guys, I'm not that crazy as to like trash a Forge World Titan just to put it on a gaming table. Sorry. Sorry to shatter your illusions, but no, it is a card construct. A very well made one, but nonetheless a card construct. And then of course the other tile here is what I call is the crashed Stormraven site. So yeah, lots more details to do on these two sites here. I want to start adding a few tree stumps. Oh yes, that's another thing. I've actually got a dead marine down here now. It's one of the GW ones. I plan on adding perhaps 3 or 4 on these two tiles here, dead marines just sporadically placed, and over on these two tiles here I'll have a few orc casualties and a bit in the middle here, so like no man's land, maybe a couple for that extra bit of narrative as well. Seeing a few casualties on the table, which will just add to the realism of the whole thing. Another thing I've tried to do is start to blend in the fortress to these actual game tiles, which is quite easy to do really. I might place a few rocks here and there around this area, nothing too much, I don't want to take up all the space. I'll also be using some of this cork bark which I've used on the fortress, which you should remember, here and there on the tile, to blend in sort of the whole of the tables, even though that this fortress might not actually be used in a 6x4 table, which is what these 4 tiles make up. if we did want to use it within the game, it'll all blend in seamlessly and look pretty epic, hopefully. So yeah, it's not looking too bad at the moment. I've done a little bit of work on the fortress as well. I'll just take you around and we'll have a look. I've been improving this building. I've been putting some wooden walkways in to make it look like the floors been blasted away, basically shoring up the whole structure as well, because it can be quite delicate, these things can, and you don't want them to be too fragile, not when you're running a gaming club, and you know, you get lots of gamers on them, and if they're too fragile they'll just get broken, so you have to bear that in mind when you're constructing anything. And there's this table here that I'm doing with the texture stuff I've actually been using. It's actually quite misleading, but it's hard as nails, and that's the way it needs to be. So yeah, I love that. That's really starting to look good. That it's got a lot more rubble to put around it and so forth, but it'll look epic when that's done. And like I say, same with the Stormraven crash site as well. But overall, the whole thing is really starting to shape up nicely now. I suppose really it's the whole of, well, I say a large part of 2011 and well into 2012 I've been working on this. But it's really shaping up nicely, and I'm really pleased with the outcome. Hopefully my members and others will enjoy playing on it. Oh, that's something else I've done I forgot to mention. This area here, if I just do a pan round it, as you can see, it's part of the trench there, a few sandbag things and so forth. That area there is the front nose of, say, like a whirlwind will sit in there, so it'll gain the permanently obscured cover save. It's basically a Space Marine hull, typical hull sized bunker for a tank to nestle in. Probably a whirlwind is your best bet, because you never end up moving those guys once you've actually placed them on the table. Just as a bit of a narrative as well. So yeah, this whole thing is going to look vastly different, guys. Don't pay too much attention to this current colour scheme, because it won't stay that way. Excuse me. It'll look hell of a lot different. But that, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my big update for the moment on the Westhill Gaming Club mega table. It was just going to be a fortress, but now it's turned into a mega table. So yeah, don't forget to leave your comments, guys, because I'd be well interested to hear what you have to say about all this. Don't forget to leave your feedback, and like if you like, hate if you hate, and cheers for watching. I'll see you in the next one.